Absolute bullshit. It's always the opposite. It's always too late.
When it comes to making decisions, people say this, they'll be like, I'm worried to make the wrong decision. How do I know I'm making the right decision?
Always try. You will lose nothing by
Yeah,
trying.
100%.
Yeah, don't overthink. Everybody was telling me like how on earth you can decide to leave a corporate job at that level, at that position in 24 hours. That is fear. When your heart rate, that is fear. But once you step out, take an action, the fear is away. When you stay in corporate over 10 years, you're programmed in an absolutely different way than you're operating as an entrepreneur. The part that with entrepreneurship that nobody sees so much, or even the new entrepreneurs, the mindset that you wake up every single day and you keep working and you don't know
Yeah, exactly.
when it's gonna succeed. Everybody wants to say I'm a founder because of what they see. It looks glamorous, it looks luxurious, it looks good on photos and pictures. But in reality, it's a tough hell of a journey. You can't be successful without being disciplined, without being consistent, without having the resilience, and most importantly, without taking the accountability and the responsibility for yourself.
Seif El Hakim is an entrepreneur, best-selling author, founder of the Alpha Group, and host of the Alpha Talk Show, one of the region's top podcasts. A former Mr. Olympia athlete and ex-regional CMO at Samsung, where he led a $3 billion business portfolio, he is now an 8-figure entrepreneur known for helping leaders and organizations unlock growth, clarity, and impact. In this episode, we explore the journey behind transformation. We dive into why many people struggle to reach their potential, the differences between corporate and entrepreneurial thinking, and the frameworks to simplify success. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Hope It Helps. And guys, I have a very special guest on the show today, someone I've been really excited to speak to for a long time. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Seif El Hakim. Seif, welcome to the show, man.
Brother, it's a pleasure to have you. We had a lovely talk before the recording, and I'm sure the energy and the vibes will be visible in the episode. Thank you for having me.
Habibi, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. So, Seif, for the people who don't know, obviously, you guys, Seif has one of the probably biggest podcasts, in the UAE at the moment called the Alpha Show. I've been familiar with his work for many, many years, so I'm very, very excited to sit down with him today.
It's a pleasure.
Guys, Seif's background, he was the CMO at Samsung. We're going to dive into all of that. Then before transitioning into entrepreneurship, and, he's very passionate about martial arts, and we're going to dive into so many different areas, Cliff.
Let's do
that. But
that.
before we get into everything, for the people who don't know you, why don't you give all of us a little bit of background about yourself, and we'll take it from there.
Very quick, I'm Egyptian, born Egyptian, but lived all my life abroad. I had different hats or different journeys in my life. One of them is the corporate career, like CMO Samsung regional head office in Moscow. And another one is my entrepreneurship career or journey. And the third one is the sports one, which is a professional kind of sports, ex-Mr. Olympia, ex-martial arts national team. So these are 3 hats I do wear, and I believe they fit each other. These journeys, the 3 different ones, I would say carved me who I am now. Interesting one, long one, but a great journey, I believe.
Yeah. So let's start. You mentioned entrepreneurship, you mentioned the corporate experience, and you mentioned, sports, martial arts, all that. I want to go back to the beginning. So I know martial arts has been a key, very cornerstone of your life from a very young age, and sports in particular as well. And, what I learned from the research I've done is that martial arts taught you about resilience and how to get back up regardless of whatever. I know you're someone who sees everything as a challenge and a challenge to overcome, not just a challenge, right? I want to start though first, what got you into martial arts in the first place, and how significant has that been to the journey and career you've had up until this point?
Super significant. And I believe it's a cornerstone of my character. And how did I get to martial arts? That's an interesting question, because I believe as a young kid with excessive energy, parents were just trying to push
go somewhere,
get it out somewhere, literally. So I tried everything, the soccer, the tennis, the basketball, but martial arts clicked. It's something that clicked. It started with kung fu, taekwondo, then I landed in kung fu for over 10 years. It's been my space. And at that time, I thought my career will be a professional martial arts.
Which would make sense at the time, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. working out, training every day, competitions, so on and so forth. So my life was about martial arts and sports. With the role models at that time, the Bruce Lees, the Jackie Chans.
I
the
know
Van
Rock is your
Dams.
favorite movie.
Absolutely, yeah. So these are the things, that was my space where I felt, I don't want to say comfortable, but inspired. That type. So that was the sports part, and I took it 10 years until a shift happened to me, like an absolute shift, which also part of my character. But before I moved to the shift, why I say the sports or the martial arts is a cornerstone or a pillar in my character, because literally it taught me what we hear these days a lot, the pillars of success. You can't be successful without being disciplined, without being consistent, without having the resilience, and most importantly, without taking the accountability and the responsibility for yourself. In martial arts, if you don't do that, you get kicked. And you get kicked really hard. So that's the martial arts part. What it taught me, how it made Seif who he is now. And I'm applying these principles in everything, like in life, in business, in even relationships, in whatever it is. The principles are the same, but you apply it in the different areas. And that's why I'm grateful to my childhood being in the sports part of martial arts. That was so good. And I enjoyed kicking people's asses. Literally, like enjoyed. You know, I don't know why, but like it is. Like, where is a fight? I'm there. But then the pivot came, which also revealed a part in me. Like, you know, like you always have a reflection, you understand who you are deep down. I used to have a cousin exactly my same age. So, you know, like, we need to study at the end of the day and we need to pass.
This is Dina, right?
Oh my God, yeah. You did your studies very well. And then I used to study with her. And then at the moment, my aunt came in. She's my second mother. And she said, like, why are you wasting time with an idiot? Man, this was a shot in my heart. Because I never thought that I'm an idiot. You understand? Like, no, I'm good at sports. So that's my advantage. The other is not a disadvantage. That's my advantage. And then this thing completely switched me. It's like, you know, like I have a theme in a book that I published called the Watch Me, like a theme. So I, like, you humiliated me in a way. Just watch me. And then everything turned around. I stopped sports to that level. You understand, like the extreme. I stopped sports, studied so hard, and I went to the best university. I was top of class. And then here's the shift. Sports. And suddenly, something happened to me, triggered me, pushed my button, and my feedback was watch me. Then I jumped to be academic. I became a nerd, let's put it that way. I loved studying. I loved to be the first in the class, and. But I never left sports, start to going to the gym, because the principles of sports are so strong. When you apply it everywhere, the equation works. You understand?
Of course.
It's an equation. Then I finished my studies. Then I jumped to my normal career back home. And I had no intention to travel. You know, I went into my comfort zone. Like, I finished university, then I started working for a telecom operator. Then I was like a great employee. So I didn't want to leave my place, like, you know, like a great one. So like, I'm acknowledged, respected, even at a young age. And then also came a watch me moment, kind of. Which, when I used to work in this operator, a close family friend came and said, like, Samsung is coming into the region looking for, how you call it, global leaders, to take them to South Korea, do their MBA, so on and so forth, work in headquarters, and then come back to home country. I said, like, I don't want, I'm happy. My friends, my family, my work, everything is good. I don't know what happened, again, just my curiosity. I'm always curious. So like, let me give it a try. So that's why when I tell anyone, always try. You will lose nothing. by
Yeah,
trying.
100%.
Yeah, don't overthink it. Like, there is something you want to do it, or an opportunity came, try it. If it works well, done. If it's not, you lost nothing. So I jumped to the interview, and it was like 14, 15 people sitting with me.
Like an assessment day kind of thing.
It's a panel interview.
Yeah,
From
yeah.
different countries, like from the Middle East and North Africa. And then, literally, I was not interested. And literally, again, I didn't know what South Korea is at that time. Like,
Sure.
absolutely, for me, was Sony,
Yeah.
Japan. Thank you very much, done for this part of the world.
For sure, yeah.
So South Korea, okay, let me try. So I'm in the interview, like we're sitting in a waiting room, and I'm looking at the time. I used to work, so I'm telling the PA, I'm telling her like whatever her name was, Jenny. I need to go.
Yeah.
I have work. So she looks at me and tells me, Seif, like, where are you from? I said, I'm from Egypt. She said, like, okay, you can go anyways. Egyptians are lazy. You're not gonna win. And again, like, oh shit, what's happening? Everybody likes to hit me or what? So like I kept looking around me, like the people, like, did she really say that? Like, that's normal. So before she leaves, I said, like, hey, let's do one thing. I didn't have an intention to win, but I'm gonna win. But if I win, you resign. If I lose, you already humiliated me in front of people. No, you didn't humiliate you, blah, 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 all this stuff. And then I won. I did everything to win. You know, like when you put, you're all in.
Yeah.
The best thing is after I finished and I went, oh shit, I need to go to Korea. I didn't want to go. Literally, like, oh shit. So I remember going back home and like, oh shit. It's done.
Yeah.
Then I went to Korea and my career
Skyrocketed
Yeah,
from
from
there,
there,
right?
yeah.
So the so before we get into Samsung,
Yeah.
which we're about to, what I took from you, coming back to the martial arts for a second. Martial arts is an area of my life that I've dabbled in bits and pieces over the course of my life, but nothing I ever did consistently. I started doing Muay Thai a couple months ago to get back in, to that world. One thing about martial arts that I love and what drew me like internally to it is like it's the humble arena.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate place that if you think you have an ego, that's where it goes to die.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
True.
And I think that, and it's such a good representation of what life is because there's consequences.
True.
You know, you don't always get the slap, but in that place you will get the slap and
True.
you will learn, right? You will
True.
learn your lesson.
But we forgot one thing.
Please.
Martial arts give you the courage, which in order to succeed in any area of your life, you need to be a risk taker.
Yeah.
To be a risk taker, you need to have the courage to move. Sometimes you go to the arena and you see your opponent is 2-3 times your size, but you cannot go back.
Yeah.
You're getting in.
It is now. The
You're-
cage is closed.
Exactly. You're getting in. The same when you're doing a business or if you don't have the courage to compete, martial arts give you this one.
Exactly. And it's so I had a Muay Thai champion on my podcast not long ago, and he talked about it as like a quiet confidence between, Seif and Khalid and Khalid, that you know how far you've gone, you know what you're capable of, and that you would expect, I think, from the outside, people think like, oh, that means he's like a monster, whatever. He's like, actually, no, that you would become the calmest, humblest person because
Exactly.
You've been slapped. You got the elbow that you weren't looking for.
Exactly, 100 times.
I'm gonna fast forward for a second because I think this is an area that was really important to me. I'm gonna fast forward to, let me fast forward. Let me start here. So you talked about the assessment day, and I went through something similar when I joined, the company I mentioned, and I got the job and I moved and whatever. But then things didn't work out for me. Okay, and I take full accountability for that because there was had a big hand to play in that. But one thing that really stuck out for me from my career experience was even when I do everything perfectly, my destiny is still not in my hands. And you had that experience, I remember when you said that you were going from trying to leave Korea, you didn't want to go back to Egypt. We're fast forwarding a bit, but we'll come back. And you wanted to move to Moscow, and that HR manager, you had the ego and whatever came with it, and just that whisper like, by the way, I can get rid of you in 2 fucking seconds.
Exactly.
That notion in my last job, my last experience, when I did everything well, was my final like, all right, fuck all of you, because even when I'm doing everything right, I don't have control, and there's a limit to my growth. So you know what, I'm gonna, alhamdulillah, I found what I found and whatever. But you also at the time were going through a bit of a, what's the word? It was a bit of a challenge because you had to create this opportunity in Russia, basically,
True.
out of nowhere, in
Exactly.
a sense, right? And I think sometimes people, when they want to go into a business as an entrepreneur or whatever, or they're in the corporate and they're thinking of leaving that behind, that's the fight that they have internally, in the sense of, do I want to stay? This is safe, good paycheck, good salary, this will keep me going. Or do I want to step out of that comfort zone? I know you're a person who's always stepped out of his comfort zone, but what advice would you have to someone, say, if they came to you and like, I'm stuck in between those two thoughts. How do I make this decision?
Choose one. Choose one. A lot of people literally keep talking about, I need to have clarity, I need to have clarity, I need to have clarity. And the answer to this, they just keep overthinking. But the point is, in order to reach your clarity, you need to move. So when you move, you will take an action. Means you're going to move. Then when you take an action, you're going to build on momentum. Then you're going to hit a wall. Then you're going to pivot. Then you're going to pivot again until you reach what you're looking for, which is clarity. So that is clarity.
Okay.
So if people say like, I'm lost, no, you're not lost. You're not moving. That's the point. So you need to take an action. Whatever the action is, a lot of people, 99% of the decisions that we need to make in our life is a two-way road. Okay? And people just give it a lot of weight. When it does, you don't need that much weight. Which means, let's say I'm in corporate, okay? And I want to leave corporate. Okay? I'm gonna think. I left Samsung in 24 hours. I need to leave corporate. Let me think. My security, my. Just freaking leave. And if you literally think about it, yes, I can leave. And I'm gonna try it a year or two. If it didn't work, I'm gonna go back. Okay? That's a two-way door decisions. So 99% of decisions that we do in our life is a two-way door. Okay. So you just make the decision, go for it, and if not, just go back. We do overthink too much, as if like the job will not come back to me. But once you say the job will not come back to you, it will not come back to you. Just have confidence in yourself, a belief. I have a decision to make. Stay in corporate or leave. I feel my guts, because I follow my guts more. My guts tells me I can go for entrepreneurship now. I'm ready. Okay? Go. A year or two, if it didn't work, go back. No issues. No, there will not be market for me. No, there will be. If you want, there will be. And a lot of examples, even in my close circle, a lot of examples. People left their corporate job, tried to be an entrepreneur, build their own thing. They failed, no issues. They learned, they knew that corporate is their home base. They went back to corporate. So don't overthink. The more you overthink, I know people that they were thinking to leave corporate and do their own thing for the last 6 years. And they're still thinking.
If you don't, to your point, if you don't, I like what you said, that the action is how you get the answers.
Oh, true.
Because you can, no matter how much I sit and theorize about, watch every podcast book about starting a business, doing anything, it's until I do it that it goes from theory to knowledge.
True.
To like wisdom, to something I can learn from.
And the problem is what? The more you overthink and the more the decisions that you have, you don't act on it, it gives you stress. That's the things on your shoulder. In our culture, we say like, كتفك تقيل.
Yeah.
Okay, it means your shoulder is heavy. That's from the number of decisions that you have to make, but you're avoiding. And literally, you're avoiding it for nothing. The same goes for fear. When you are fearful towards something, fear will not go until you
very true.
act.
Yes.
You understand? Like, example, the people who skydive, okay? They made a very interesting study. They put a heart rate on the people that are gonna jump from the plane. So they put the heart rate on all the journeys. So when they're on the ground, when the plane is ascending, and then when they join. When was the lowest heart rate?
After they jumped.
Exactly. On the moment that they're jumping, it's done.
I'm in.
Exactly. Heart rate was very high when they were on the ground, when the plane is ascending. But once the action is taken, that is fear. When your heart rate, that is fear. But once you step out, take an action, the fear is where. So decisions and fear, to solve them, you need to take an action, even a small one.
Yeah.
And then you will feel, oh shit, something is, I see it like a solution.
100%.
Like, you're like, for example, when you give an example of the podcast, if you really think about the podcast, oh shit, the place, the cameras, the microphones, the lighting, let me try to make a research. Okay, it will cost me. So now I understood that it cost me that. Next month I'll save this. That's another action towards it. And then at the end, you have your own studio, you have this, you made this episode. You found like, oh shit. But if I kept overthinking, you will not ever move, and then will be stressful. Things more on your shoulder will not make you move freely.
Yeah.
Excess luggage. I say it, excess luggage.
That's a good way to put it. And what I think a very important thing you said there, Seif, is because I think a lot of times people say, take action. But people, I think subconsciously to the people outside, we look at take action means I have to jump off a cliff. But it's not the case. That's why the way you talked about it with the studio is like, okay, let me research. Like there are small steps
True.
I can take to start moving towards, but a lot of times we think the step has to be like
Huge.
this, otherwise why should I take it?
True.
You know what I'm saying? And also to build the second half of what you're talking about on the fear is never going to go away. Until you push through that door, it's always going to be there. And there's still more fear behind it. Fear is a normal, very normal emotion. But I think the difficult thing when it comes to making decisions, people say this, they'll be like, I'm worried to make the wrong decision. How do I know I'm making the right decision or the wrong decision? But what I've learned from your story is you never looked at it through that lens. You just thought about, I need to take a decision to move either right or left. But also I think you're the type of person that is comfortable with whatever outcome that comes with that. Because a lot of people, the regret starts coming when you either have done the wrong thing or even worse, when I didn't do anything at all.
100%. And you know, like, also, you whatever you do in your life, make yourself of bigger value, which means whatever decision I'm gonna do, I know it's gonna be the right decision, even if it's wrong. But give it to yourself. Like, you know, we label ourselves so much internally by our subconscious talks. No. This decision is true, regardless, and I can make it true. I never thought in my life that, for example, I'm gonna have a podcast. Never ever freaking thought. It was an action, a step, opened to me a couple of doors. I took a door, interesting, pivoted a little bit, voila. That's how it goes. We say, like, if you look at God and tell him, look, God, here is my plan. He's gonna look back at you and laugh.
I love this.
You understand? Like, literally, like, I'm gonna have a podcast. Absolutely, it's not in my. I'm gonna marry an Iranian. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Was not in the map.
Yeah, and it's when you so using that context now that we have. I want to take you back to this story, that night where, you know, you wake up, it's in the middle of the night, you're disgusted with yourself, you look yourself in the mirror, you can't believe, you know, how the person you become, or you let yourself go, whatever the case might be, you break it, whatever, and you're like, I never want to see this, you know, again, and I will pick myself up and dust myself off and keep going. Now, I had a similar moment to that, so that's why I really resonated with that story. It was a mirror moment too. Looked myself in the mirror, and I looked at it and be like, "This is your fucking fault." And for the first time in my life, you know, I took that accountability. And at the time, I believe in this story, it was because you had left. Now you were back in Egypt or Turkey at the time, and I think you were working with the family business, and it was struggling. You know, for like 6 months, it was a bit, you know, tough and adjusting from Korea, corporate, Samsung, to back to our part of the world and family, you know, like on top of that. What, like at that point, it would have been very easy. Even you said it, like that voice in your head is like, go back to corporate. Seif, this isn't for you. But again, you fucking kick down that door and you're like, no, I will make it for me. A lot of people, though, in that situation, we touched on it earlier in the conversation, wouldn't push through that door. And I think that's why where, for example, the alpha movement that you created come from, because you talked about how people are not living up to their full potential, right?
True.
But, you know, I 100% agree. But my question is, why? You know, why, if we know we have potential, why do we not dive into it and go as 100% into what we could become?
Because it's not easy. It's not easy. It's absolutely not easy. If I took the decision to go back to corporate, my life at that time was going to be 100% easier. 100% easier. I'll get back my position, I'll get back the income, and I will make everything easy to me, okay? But it will leave me with one thing, a scar. That I'm a quitter. And literally this scar, it's stuck to you until you die.
You have to live with it.
Exactly. I'm not gonna talk about regrets and so on and so forth, doesn't matter. But between you and yourself, when things became tough, I pussied out. Not me. I didn't want this. I didn't want this label. It didn't work. So this is one part as a character, okay? But the second part, which is important, I had a lot of people rely on me. And that's what also part of the alpha thing. A lot of people rely on me. My family, my. I could not. Step back. And that's the moment I said, like, fuck it, I'm gonna make it. I'm literally gonna make it. Doesn't matter how, it's gonna be hard. And it's proven it's gonna be hard. Because just to give the context for the people watching, when you stay in corporate over 10 years, you're programmed in an absolutely different way than you're operating as an entrepreneur. To give a context, being a CMO in Samsung for years, I used to do things like this, which means I used to run the marketing. I want a campaign. This is my idea. Let's put it that way. And I'm gonna put my final touches to it. I need to review the contract. I need to create a website. But being an entrepreneur, no. You need to roll up your sleeves again and get your hands dirty and do these things, kiddo, by yourself. Not through the leverage that the company gives you. So that's an absolute mindset switch.
Very good.
Either you're gonna sit and cry, like, oh shit, I need to make a website. Oh my God. Or find budget-friendly people to create it. You understand? Like you're playing with it in an absolute different ball game.
100%.
I gave an example once to the level of budgets. I made a big mistake in a campaign when I was in Samsung. A big mistake. Fucked up. I thought I'm gonna be fired. Literally fired. I ran a TV commercial, created a commercial, ran it was on air, and it flopped. Absolutely shit. The TV commercial cost $3 million.
Fuck.
3M. Again, and I'm very open, it flopped. At that day, I thought I'm done, like finished. Pack your bags, go back home. My boss called me and said, like, just to make it quick. I thought like he's gonna tell me like, in my mind, let me resign, don't fire me. You understand?
I'll go down on my own ship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he called me to the office, and that's the scenario playing in my head. He said, Seif, did you learn the lesson? I said, yes. He said, the lesson cost us $3 million, but did you learn? Yes, I did. That's the power of being in a corporate. That's the power of being in a brand that can absorb such losses to make you learn, to make Seif, who was by the best CMO, I was the best because I failed like shit. And I learned from it. But they had the cushion to make me learn. This is not possible in being an entrepreneur, in a starting up, in a family business. You don't have that cushion. So the mindset even here is an absolute different game. So that's why I'm saying like, it was a very tough moment, an absolutely tough moment. You need to change your mindset. You need to change the way you operate, how you even handle with people. man, it's absolutely. But to go back to the thing is, I would never want to label myself as a quitter. And the people that rely on me, they can rely on me.
Yeah, and I think that I'm very happy you brought on the responsibility aspect, not just the accountability between Seif and Seif, but the responsibility you have to your family, the people, whoever you were taking care of at the time, which also I would argue would make it even that kind of responsibility usually makes it even harder for people to take that step, because you're like, oh, I have a family now. Like there's my fear, and then there's the fear, can I provide? There's the fear, will this work? It's a risk, you know. It's always a risk. I'm so happy you brought up the budgeting story, because I've spoken to many entrepreneurs on the podcast over the years, and I've learned that no matter how long of a career you've had in corporate, inshallah, you were the CMO, you were the president, whatever, for 30 years, okay? Once you leave, you will go through the same challenges, struggles, emotions that someone like me, for example, who's 3 years in, is gonna face. It's the same, you know? And obviously, in that situation, if you come with that much more experience, you would hope you have a higher chance of success because you have so much more experience.
No, bro, one thing. You know, when you come from such, you know, the type of mentality you have is like, oh shit, I was the youngest CMO, okay? The youngest CMO. So I thought I will literally touch anything, I will turn it to gold. You know, you come up with this mentality like, oh shit, I'm so good. Like whatever I'm gonna do,
it's the gold touch,
done. And then you hit wall, like, oh my God, you need to recalibrate yourself in order to really succeed in being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Being an entrepreneur is really a tough thing. Unfortunately, what we see these days, that's becoming a trend. Like everybody wants to say I'm a CEO. Everybody wants to say I'm a founder because of what they see. It looks glamorous. It looks luxurious. It looks good on photos and pictures. But in reality, it's a tough hell of a journey. If you're not ready for it, don't ever think about it. And if you're not passionate and have the obsession of what you're doing, stay away. If you're doing it for the money and that's it, you're gonna freaking fail.
Yeah, 100%.
Because the slaps that you're gonna get down the line before you reach the money will let you return back to corporate or pivot millions of times, and at the end you will not reach whatever you want. It's a journey that requires an absolute mental toughness and the resilience to continue while you are obsessed and have the passion to what you do.
I heard someone once say, Saif, that entrepreneurship is the people who succeed as entrepreneurs is how much pain can you take and for how long.
Exactly.
You know,
true.
Because that longevity, like you said, it takes time to build up to like the level that you're at. You know, that this podcast has gotten to and so on. So, but the budget thing is actually very useful because, like you said, that was a $3 million loss on their books. No problem. You can absorb it, and that's one of the main advantages people talk about corporate or like the corporate world is that you are learning on someone else's and they're paying you to learn, right? So there's a big advantage. To not, obviously, to your point though, big push for entrepreneurship nowadays. This is something I love talking about on the podcast, but I love giving the realities, the failures that you talked about, which I appreciate you sharing, you know, because sitting where you are now, it's very easy for people watching to be like, he has no idea. True. You know, I know. You know what I'm saying?
You know, like we say, like the worst part about entrepreneurship versus corporate, okay? In corporate, every day is systematic, okay? And you know the money is coming in end of the month, okay? The cliche of corporate. The part that with entrepreneurship that nobody sees so much, or even the new entrepreneurs, that the mindset that you wake up every single day and you keep working and you don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
When it's gonna succeed.
Exactly.
But you keep waking up the same every day, like I'm good, the business, we're gonna do this, do that, meetings. But you don't see when it's gonna flip. And that requires a mindset.
100%. And also the point you talked about how I think entrepreneurship humbles you a lot, because even if you're running the marketing for Samsung for a long time, it's until you are trying to build something yourself that that budgets will become 10 million times more important. Every dirham you spend, you're gonna think 1,000 times about. Of course. And also to your point that the risk of maybe I'll do this for God knows how long and it doesn't work. That's also a risk that you have to take. And one of the big things I hear from people who have had your experiences, you go from being the guy that everyone and their mother is trying to get in touch with, Seif, please, we need you. And then you become just another guy, and you're like, hello, where the fuck is everyone? Where are all the people who wanted to talk to me? They're gone. So it's the identity aspect, I know, is very challenging. But besides identity, besides the budget aspect, what is another area when you made this transition that surprised you? Because I know also you were at Orange, then you did Samsung Korea, then you did Samsung Russia, then you did the family business for a while. And during this phase 2, you also had the whey protein, you had the fruit and veg business, and you had the gyms as well.
Gyms, true.
So that's because I want to come on to the alpha movement now. You have all this corporate, and you also were doing things on the side, like some entrepreneurship, your own stuff on the side. I think the reason alpha has worked out is the way it has is because you were simultaneously having both experiences.
True.
Right? So how significant were those side hustles of entrepreneurship that you're doing on the side while you were working to the success that Alpha has now?
It will go back to martial arts. Why? I knew by practicing I'll become good.
Okay.
Correct? So the more you practice, the more you master what you're doing. I knew my journey in Samsung is going to end. It's happening. And as an engineering background, I have my tree in my head.
The decision tree.
Exactly. Decision tree in my head. Okay. If I continue corporate, then either I'm going to go to another, like Apple, Huawei, whatever. Okay, that's one option. But if the second option happened, I'm naked. So I had to develop the second leg of the tree. Meaning what? Okay, let's say tomorrow is going to happen that I'm leaving Samsung and I'm going to be on my own. What kind of things I can do? Okay, like running a business. Oh shit. Let me try. So on the side, I was trying things which is not in conflict with my corporate work.
Sure.
So I was trying I was into sports. So I loved creating a supplement brand. Then the trading between Egypt and Russia for fruits and vegetables. The gyms as well, because in sports. I kept trying while I have the financial support from my corporate job and also learning what it takes to run a business. Because if you tell me you will learn by spending money and I have the money, I will spend it. Because there is no learning that comes free. So I had the money, so let me try. So at that time, I start to build a little bit, let's not say superb, but a little bit I understood how to go see things, how to manage cross-country trading, building a product outside of consumer electronics. Then when the decision came, literally it took me 24 hours I'm leaving. Everybody was telling me how on earth you can decide to leave a corporate job at that level, at that position, in 24 hours. It won't be done other way. It won't be done other way. It has to be a cutthroat. There are some things that you need to do it a cutthroat, because not only your internal monologue that's gonna play, that's gonna F your brains.
Yeah.
It's the people around you that you really, your family. You're gonna tell you what the heck.
Yeah.
No, what else do you need? What else do you dream of? You are a guy from Egypt that, with God's grace, became a CMO of regional head office, early 30s. What the F do you want to ruin your life? For what? That's one part, okay? Then the monologue, the second part. Then the third one is the team that you created, because your team becomes a family to you. So you leaving them becomes kind of a betrayal. Like we've built together so much that you will leave. So you have influence from here, influence from here, influence from here. So if you don't do it a cutthroat, it will never be done. And it had to be done a cutthroat. And I like 24 hours, I was out.
Yeah, and the those early experiences that you were doing on the side with the way and stuff, the way you framed it as I can experiment and I'm still, you know, I still have security, right?
True.
So you can learn all the lessons of these small lessons of entrepreneurship without, you know, worried that the whole, you know, everything's gonna fall off a cliff,
100%.
right? Which is why probably when you decide, khalas, I'm going all in into alpha, you already had it. You know, you already had that training of like these little experiences to prepare you for the what's the word? Call it the fear, the challenge, the risks of when it's 100 and there's no looking back now.
100%. You know, like there's one thing we need to touch upon. In every whoever watching this trying to make a move, he always try to leverage. Like early entrepreneurs, they leverage their time, their network, so on and so forth. Some people leverage their money. Some people leverage tech. To win, to put it simple, it's a matter of leverage, how you play your cards well. At that time, I had to leverage my money to learn. Okay. So some people won't have that, but leverage something else. Like, see what cards do you have to leverage on so it propels you forward faster. Again, as an example, leveraging technology with your productivity, that's a leverage. Money to try something, that's a leverage. Network to get you, for example, a distribution, it's a leverage. Always play with your leverage card. When you have a problem, the first thing that you think of, what leverage do I have? Because at the end, you are a box, you have a capacity. You can't use any what you have ever 100 times. So what other stuff you can do to solve this problem?
And I love the way you looked at it as leverage. I heard once on a podcast say people will always pay with the resource that we place the least value on.
100%.
So as an entrepreneur early in the early days, you know, myself included, there was no money, so I was all about time. You said that was the resource I decided. But then as time goes on and you build, then now no, your time becomes more valuable. No, I'll pay with money to sort that problem out, you know, to get done quicker. So you talk when coming on to the alpha movement, because I think this is something, you know, this is the, you know, the main thing that you're doing right now. But before that, you were already coaching and mentoring people for a long time.
Yeah.
This didn't just start with alpha, right? And you had a mentor, I believe it was your boss was Turkish, right?
Exactly.
He was, right? And that you really learned a lot from him. So for the people who don't know or are curious, like, you know, maybe I need a coach, maybe I need a mentor. From your experience being a mentee and now a mentor, what advice do you have to people in terms of when do I need to find one? How do I find one? And I think what I've learned from the mentors I've had in my life is chemistry is very important.
True. But we need to define the difference between a coach and a mentor.
Yes.
Okay. So
Also that, yes.
there are coaches and there are mentors. Coaches are good in a perspective that they don't tell you what to do. Okay. They poke you in ways that you have the answer to what you're looking for. Okay. That are the coach's sphere. A great sphere, but that's the way how they operate. Mentors are a little bit of different game, a different ball game. These are the people who are in your field or in the areas that you want to excel in. They have absolute experience and success in that place, and they give you shortcuts. Simple as that. Let's say, for example, I want to build a real estate agency. So I come to the best broker in like Dubai. The guy becomes my mentor. So it tells you like you need to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't discuss. These are the things because my time is
Yes, yeah.
to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come back. I did this. So it's a shortcut towards your success. The problem with this, that first of all, you need to identify what you actually need, what you want to do. The second is to find a mentor. Chemistry is an absolute a game changer because the way you operate or people operates are different psychologically, so on and so forth. So you need to find a person that actually matches you on the same way. But the most important thing, having a proper mentor means you're dedicated to do what that mentor is saying.
That's the thing. That's a great point. Very important.
We're not friends. We're not here just to have coffee, that you listen to what I'm saying, and then you come next day and say, "Oh, no, that's fine. Go do your life, continue with your life, what you're doing." You need to act on what that person is saying because these people are literally successful people in their area. So they're giving you their time, whether it's paid or not paid, doesn't matter. Their time is value for them. So if you don't give the weight to their time, by the certificate, that discussion, don't do that. That's a critical thing. How to identify proper mentor? Just very simple. That person is credible. Build a credible thing. His success is shown. It's felt. Not just being on social media of not the blah 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 speakers. Just a person who literally, like if you're talking about you want to build a real estate agent, your mentor has to a guy who built
Done in the field.
exactly
100%.
exactly. I prefer mentors over coaches. Like if we look, like we go backwards, I prefer mentors over coaches. Why I say this? I come from a character standpoint that I believe in what people did, which means I crafted the business. I made this business succeed. So I know the equation. Coaches are not that. Coaches are more of psychologists. Okay, like a coach that I'm a business coach that I will can triple 10 times your business. Excuse my language in Arabic. We say what 10 times in my business and you never touched the business before. You understand? Like these are the coaches' sphere.
Yeah.
They've spoken to a lot of people and got their experience by hearing, not by doing, and then giving it to you. That doesn't work with me. Mentors on the opposite, no, they did the thing themselves, and they're willing to help you either monetary or for free, but they did the thing themselves. So I come from a school, I follow mentors rather than I can 10 times your business. I'm a business school. Good for you. Keep that freaking business you 100 times. Let me see your business.
Yeah. I'm so happy you mentioned that distinction. I think it's very important. And I've gone through this experience myself. So whether it's with therapy, whether I've had executive coaches, right now I have a communication coach, I have a conflict coach, like now, but I wouldn't to be, if we're using the definition that we have just created, I would look at them more as mentors and coaches because, and this was what always used to frustrate me, especially particularly with therapy, is sometimes, you going to ask you questions you're learning, and it's a process. But then sometimes I'll sit there and I'd ask my therapist, like, what do you think? What do you think? You're the expert. And they're like, no, I can't tell you. And it's up to you to figure out that. I'm like, I'm not telling you to give me the answer. I'm just asking for your perspective. It might help me get the answer. And then working with mentors who tell me, no, Khalid, shut the fuck up. Don't do that. Go here, go right, go left. And the most important thing you touched on before, even the definitions, is don't go do it if you're not ready to commit.
So true.
Because it's a lose-lose. You're gonna say like, oh, they're not good, which is not true. And they're gonna be like, okay, this was a waste of, it's a waste of my time. So you're shooting yourself in the foot if you're going down that path. But you said something there that, and you mentioned it before, success leaves clues, right?
100%.
All right. But what was interesting to me, that what you talked about is like, motivation will do you fuck all for your success. It's not about the motivation, but it's about designing the ecosystem. And Seif, I remember when I was watching, you said that, I'm like, this is the thing that everyone's missing, by the way. Because it's very motivation based, these kind of conversations, right? Motivate yourself and believe it. But how do let's say I'm not motivated, I don't have belief in myself, whatever. Okay, how can I design my life in a way to start doing these things, to start being successful, right? So from your experience working with Samsung, with the coaching, whatever, how can we design for success? How can we create that ecosystem? Because that applies not only to personal, it also translates into the business as well.
Look, I'll go couple of directions, and I give you one personal story. Literally, success leaves clues. Okay, and once you see these clues, and you put it in an equation. For me, success is unlimited.
Okay.
Okay. Back in the days, I was doing a particular type of business. Okay. And it, for me, was a number game. At that time in my life was about numbers, meaning like I need to get X, X, 2X, 3X, and so on and so forth. And since maybe because of my engineering background, so everything for me is numbers. So I was doing something. I figured the equation, which is success leaves clues, which I modeled it from somebody else. Okay. That's what success leaves clues means. I modeled it. I created the equation for me. You can't believe how much money I created from a number perspective. Okay. So it became like, I know now the equation. So I kept, dude, on the same equation, I could go 10, 100,000, 10,000, 100,000. It was like, that is what it means. Success leaves clues, and knowing the equation that works for what you're doing. Once you hold this equation, okay, everything is, the key is done. Again, it's fundamentals. Okay. The problem is these days is people handle business or handle the life from a motivational standpoint, which means like, oh shit, I have a good idea. My idea is to do ABC. Okay. My motivation is high. Then I go talk to my brother. Hey, I have a great idea. And my brother looks at me and is like, are you sure? That's a stupid one. So your motivation goes down, so you park the idea and you don't do a shit. Okay? That's how life goes with people. Okay? So my pillar is motivation. No. Your pillar is not a motivation. Your pillar is discipline. Your pillar is not the motivation. If your mood is good, then it's good.
Yeah, that's a bonus. You know that, right?
It's a bonus. It's an add-on. It's not the main. But a lot of people now, it's like, no, my mood is not good. I'm not doing it. Excuse me? Your mood is not what? So once you really flip this from being motivated to do something to being disciplined to do something, your life will literally change. Because trust me, you cannot fail again, because people say failure. You cannot fail if you're disciplined and you got the equation. So you know the equation that this succeeds and you're disciplined and consistent on it, you cannot. It's impossible. Again, look, I'm saying it is impossible to fail if you have these two words. And these are the things that, like the examples that I give, is like, you've never seen a pilot sitting in a cockpit clapping for the plane to fly, right? That's not motivation. The right, sir. Fly? No. The system of the plane is designed to fly, means to succeed. Correct? You can never find a Kia Picanto driving at the 400 kilometers per hour, right? Even if the driver kept clapping, motivated, correct? The car is not designed to drive at 400 kilometers per hour. So the summary of this is what? No, in order to succeed, if the motivation doesn't work, we put it on a side. You need to see what are the pillars, the ecosystem for your type of business or type of life or that make this kind of successful. Get one level deeper. I want to be a Kung Fu champion. What the heck should I need to do? Watch Bruce Lee movies? That's motivation. And the songs of the movie and the drama, like, oh, and then that's motivation. No. How Bruce Lee became the champion. These are the success leaves tools. He did 1, 2, 3, 4 and kept doing it for years. Mastered this. Then you gotta be the next Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Not watching him now. successfully goes backwards. A person who created Apple, Steve Jobs. You don't model Steve Jobs now. He passed away, but at that moment, at his success, no, you don't model him now. You model him backwards.
Connecting the dots.
Exactly, backwards. Muhammad Salah, football. You want to be Muhammad Salah. You don't see what he's doing now. It's a different ball game. See, model him backwards. That's having the ecosystem of whatever business you're doing, a life thing you want to do. That's the ecosystem of success.
Though I love the way you put it, that if you have the equation and you have the discipline, it's just a matter of time before you be successful. But also to build on what you said, though, it's not just about, I think, at least in my opinion, it's not just about, okay, I saw how, let's say, with football, for example, football fan. So let's say Muhammad Salah, I saw him, okay, he did, not where he is, but he did for the 10 years, these are the things he did every day to get to his goal. But I think what's also in this entrepreneurship, personal development space, in this conversation that I think is always missed is that Seif's system and Khalid's system are not the same. We can be looking at the same history of like what got, let's say, Salah there, but you might be like, okay, I like things 2 and 3, but I don't like 4 or 5. What else could I plug and play that fits more into what I like and what I'm good at or where my strengths are? I think it has to be designed for you. Otherwise, it's never going to work. If you try to follow someone else's system, I think just copy paste, you're not going to have the same results. Or would you disagree?
Let me tell you one thing to balance it.
Sure.
Okay. Sure. There are some things are fundamentals.
Okay.
Okay. Like the fundamentals of building a building is putting the assess,
The foundation.
the foundation. Okay. You come and tell me, no, I'm an architect, a crazy architect, that I will build a building without a foundation. It will build on water. I tell you, go after yourself. Okay. Give me the touches, your personality, your identity, your skill set, your advantage. Once you're done with the foundation,
Great point. Very important.
build on the foundation.
This is very important.
The point is now, the idea is like a lot of people F the foundation and they keep telling you, I'm freaking creative, I'm innovative. So they're adding the ads on, the cherries on the cake, but there is no freaking cake. Build the foundation. Every business has a proper foundation. Again, I'm not like breaking the wings of people, but 99% of people are not building the next Facebook, okay? Or the next Tesla, or. So you don't need to be super with your head somewhere else. Just build the foundation properly, then add on top. And it gives me, the thing that I would love to say. A lot of people comes and tell me, Seif, it's better to be an entrepreneur or better to go into corporate. Okay.
Fair question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are different schools for this, but I come from a school that says, if you are a fresh grad, you're starting your life, jump into corporate first. But again, we'll give the example of the real estate. You want to open a real estate agency. Jump to a real estate agency, learn for free. They pay you by learning, so you learn for free. You learn the business model, you learn the process, you learn how to manage people, to speak to people, so on. Couple of years, then go build your own. What does this mean with what we spoke about? When you went there for a couple of years, you already took the foundation and you went back to your own thing. So you built on the foundation, and then comes what? Khalid is good at that.
Exactly, yes.
A great example for this that maps the real estate example, Ryan Serhant.
Yeah, he's blown up everywhere now.
Bro, the guy is good in acting. He's an actor, okay? So he understood the real estate game, then built his own real estate agency, correct?
Correct.
Based on the foundation of real estate, and added his alpha. I'm an actor, then let me use this to sell my properties. That's the alpha of Rise. So start with the foundation. The foundation is foundation. 1 + 1 will always be freaking 2. Just make sure that the two exists. And then build on top of that with your areas of expertise.
This is such an important point that you brought up, Seif, because like to your point, I think a lot of us, because also putting in the foundation is it's a lot harder than people think as well, right? It's not just like, oh, I have to put in the foundation and build this and whatever. That's the hardest part. Before I can put Khalid's touches or Seif's touches on point, because you know what that foundation needs, right?
And touches is easy to you. You understand?
Yeah.
My touch
Fair,
is
fair.
something that is my competitive edge. So it comes to me naturally. It's easy. Right? So I'm an actor. I'm good in front of camera. I can create scene, a drama, so on and so forth. So it becomes easy. But the foundation is literally freaking boring.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. And so this kind of brings us on to Alpha, right? So Alpha is not, you have the talk show, there's a training platform, there's a club, you have the book, you have ventures as well. And you, in the thing that's been the hidden thing we haven't touched on in our conversation that applies to both the corporate and entrepreneurship space is personal brand.
Yeah.
Now, you come from a marketing background. So it's very interesting for me to learn from, because personal branding has become the most popular term I think you see on LinkedIn. Nowadays, for sure. But with reason, because as we move, I'm not getting into AI, but as we move into this world where things can take care of everything, Khalid and Seif as Seif are the difference makers. In what that's the only thing that makes me different from another person, or that machine, can't take my place. My question to you is, were you, because I think people talk about personal brand, but they don't talk about the how. How do you build it? How long does it take? When do you know that you have it? So in your experience building, the being known as the Alpha, with the Alpha Show, whatever, you are the
Identity.
You're the identity that all these other things sit under. Yeah. Seif's personal brand is the thing that all this can fit under, right? So from your perspective, how did you go about building?
I had no intention.
You had no intention.
No intention. Just to put it simple and straight. No intention. But by the time you understand how important it is, so when you understand how important it is, you start to do it. So to build your personal brand in our era, it is the most critical thing that you can do to yourself and to your business. And even if you are in corporate, building your personal brand inside of the corporation is super critical, but you need to be a little bit politically conservative, not to have a backlash. But having a personal brand now is a no-brainer. Why I'm saying it's a no-brainer? Because everything comes from science at the end of the day. Very simple. Let's say my generation, back in the days, we didn't believe in people. Okay? We believed in operations. The Sonys, the Nokias, the DB. We connected with these boxes. Okay? These, in our era, these days, like when we're talking about the Gen Zs, the Gen Alphas, and going down, they don't believe in boxes. They connect with humans. So now becomes the personal brand, which means the person behind the company or the person himself is the gateway towards a business you want to do, so on and so forth. So scientifically, that's how it goes. Like the new generations, they believe more in personalities rather than brands. Example. There's Tesla and there is Ford. Ford, difference between these two companies, almost 100 years, okay? The market cap is almost 20 times. 20 freaking times. Why? Because Tesla has a face called Elon Musk. Okay. We like it or not, that's the truth, okay? Do you remember the days of Ford? Ford was Ford. But now Tesla, excuse me, we have Elon Musk face. That's the personal brand that drives the Tesla brand behind. Cool. So in these days, you don't have, it's a no-brainer to say like, should I build my personal brand or not? It's a no-brainer. You need to build it. Now, how to build it? Which is a very interesting thing. There are three ways. Unfortunately, majority of people taking the third way. Okay. The first one is you're old enough or your journey is big enough that you can share your wisdom from the journey. Example, myself. I share my experience based on the journey that I had. Okay. That's number one. Number two is you're starting from nothing, but it's nothing wrong with starting with nothing. Build it and share the journey with the people. I'm building a real estate agency. Today I'm going to have my license. Hey guys, and today I'm in blah 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 blah, opening my license. I'm renting an office. So you're sharing on day to day your journey growing. Documenting. That's the second. The third is like fake it until you make it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
I run the biggest, whatever, and you run nothing, and you just keep reading some books, watching some podcasts, watching some videos, and giving. This will be burned right away because like the era of bullshitting people is gone. So you have these two ways of building your personal brand and connecting with the audience, sharing your backstory or sharing you going forward. These are the two things. People will tell me, okay, sometimes I don't know the value that I should provide. Okay, you can sit and reflect, see where I'm good at. And these are the things that you position yourself with. But sometimes it's hard. Why it's hard? Because sometimes when you stand on top of a mountain, you don't see the mountain, right?
True. Yeah.
But if you got somebody in front of you, will see you and will see the mountain, correct?
Correct.
The mountain in this example is your value period. So sometimes you need help from outsiders to look at you and say, like, oh, that's your value. Once you identify this, you position yourself and you put yourself to the public with such value towards a niche that you're trying to be in. As simple as that. Takes a long time, takes hell long time.
To build on that this point, then how do I know when I built it?
No, again, let's have a mindset in anything that we're doing is the infinity mindset.
Okay.
Infinity mindset, you never reach an endpoint. Okay? Because even in success, can you always be successful? No. Correct? You're always earning success. Okay, earning, so you're always earning and defending success. Correct? So earning and defending. The same goes with, like, let's say, personal brand. Let's take celebrities out of the game, like thought leaders and so on and so forth. You're always building it and trying to sustain it. Because unfortunately, anything that becomes into the public can have its time, especially if it's trend and it dies. But if you're building a personal brand, you need to build it. And if you think by matrix that you reached a level of an acceptable kind of personal brand in your market, you need to keep sustaining it. And that's the key. Exactly as success. You can tell me that you won a lottery ticket, you're rich. Let's talk to you after 10 years. If you can maintain that, grow it, then chapeau to you. If thank you very much, it was a luck thing, that's not success.
Yeah. And I think first of all, I think a lot of people nowadays, we do go for fake it till you make it. Like from voice to for sure. I've done it once upon a time too, let's be honest. It's okay, that happens.
But these days it becomes, you cannot fake it until you make it so much because it becomes visible.
Yeah.
People are so much aware than before.
That's true. And I love how you said that there's two ways to go about doing it. Either talk about what you've done or talk about what you're doing and where you're going, And obviously in scenario number one, it would make sense for someone with the experience that you have to be doing this because you guys have, those long careers that people, want to learn.
There's building again. And while building, you'll be sharing as well.
Yeah, of course. And I think what I like about what you said is the build isn't the problem. It's sustaining and evolving it too. Because what if in 5 years, you're like, okay, Seif, I'm no longer the alpha. I am now whatever, the king, whatever. But khalas, it's a new brand that you want to build, and I can go along with that. Seif, I want to round off our conversation today with just a couple more questions over you. So I wanted to round off on this alpha concept. Now, the the way you talk about being an alpha, and alpha is always a leader, right? Someone, and their traits have evolved over time, but you're someone who's determined, responsible, caring, all these kind of things. What, I guess, from your perspective, because this is the question: are alpha traits kind of like what we touched on earlier? Are there some foundational ones that without these you cannot be an alpha, and then you can cherry pick on top the ones that resonate with you? Or is being an alpha, the alpha traits in your from your perspective, are locked in?
Of course, we're humans. We have the choice to choose whatever we want. But fundamentally, to be an alpha, to be a leader, to be a person who's unstoppable, in regardless of what direction you're going, you need to have a particular set of traits, which is they're determined. One of the main things, again, to be an alpha, be able to take tough decisions. And I mean tough, cutthroat ones. A lot of people these days, we spoke about it earlier, they don't take decisions. They don't know how to take decisions. They get scared of taking decisions. So an alpha is a person who takes the tough decisions, is a person who's determined, a person whose stop button is broken, is super goal oriented, he cares about his loved ones, he's influential, he's impactful. These are traits that you determined, consistent. You cannot pick and choose, because at the end of the day, you have a puzzle, right? If you take two pieces out of a puzzle, the puzzle will look ugly, correct?
True.
So it's the same. There are some traits that, and we're talking about soft traits.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay?
Exactly.
And we're not talking about like hardcore skills, persuasion, dedication. You understand? We're not. We're talking only about soft skills. Master these soft skills.
No.
And literally, when you master these soft skills, man, you're gonna fall in love with yourself.
One, I'm so happy you said it in that way, because I think that's if I framed it to someone like, if you learn these skills, you will love yourself, I guarantee you 20 billion people would get on that bandwagon. The way it's, if you frame it, from that context. But to your point, and I think alpha, traditionally, they think, when you hear alpha, people think men, but these traits are not just any of these traits, it's not gendered. These are gendered traits for you to be an alpha identity.
Absolutely.
Not man, woman, whatever. These are the things, these are the things you need. But to your point also, it is a building process. It does take time, and it's a consistent, evolution and whatever. Exactly. Absolutely. And you said that, to round us off on this point, you said that the message on your grave you want is, here lies a man that no person on earth could twist his arm. So where does that self-belief,
Where did I find all this shit?
I do good research.
Oh shit. We come from culture, Middle Eastern culture. A man is a man. It's Rijab, exactly. But going back to this kind of phrase, exactly, it is, we live in an era that any person can, who has the ability to twist your arms, to let you do things against your will, against your values. I'm not saying that, but like against your values, for, let's say, monetary thing or success or career or whatever. That's life now. So, from my perspective, I want to live a life until I die. And this statement is written on my grave, that nobody ever could twist my arm to do something that I do against my principle, against my values, against my ethics, against. Regardless of the reason, but nobody could ever do this. And in Arabic, you deal with that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And to build on that point, one of the big things my father has always taught me about what it means to be a man was always, a man is someone, there's only two things a man has: his principles and his work. It's true. Everything else is irrelevant and debatable, because without these things, you you don't know how you'll be able to guide not only yourself, but the people that you care about, your family, you know, and so on. Safe, to round off our conversation, Peter, I just have two more questions for you. Usually the questions I ask all my guests. So looking back at your life, either personally or professionally, when I ask you the question, what are you most proud of for yourself? What would you say?
The pride that I see in the eyes of my mother and my wife in particular moments. That's one thing. Second is one thing is a little bit personal. You know, when we don't live in our own countries, okay? And sometimes when you're an immigrant, sometimes life hits you so hard, and people looks to you is so harsh. So when I got like acknowledged and awarded by the Russian president, it was something that
For the Olympics, right? In Sochi, right?
Sochi, I guess, yeah. So it's something also. So these are, I would say, these are the things that related to family and related to a kind of achievements. The super makes me proud.
Now, and you know, I love that combination of the people that are most important to you in your life. That, you know, if there's any opinion you care about, it's you know, those kind of, you know, those people. And to be getting an award from the Russian president is a pretty
Especially again when you're
it's a big one.
an immigrant. When you're an immigrant, a lot of people who are in an immigrant position will understand that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying an immigrant in Dubai because it's an absolutely different ballgame.
Yeah.
You're all equal, everything like absolutely great. Different countries, you're an immigrant means you're an immigrant. Yeah, absolutely an immigrant. Second, third, fourth level.
I remember I love the story that when you're talking about how when you move to the Russian office and, you know, your boss first day is like, shut the fuck up and sit down. Exactly. That computer. Exactly. Do that presentation.
Exactly.
You know, it's just like, yeah, exactly. That's the best way to describe it. And for my last question, Saif, what is the message you'd like everyone to take home with them today?
The people who tell you that it's never too late are liars. It's always too late. Literally. Because we live in an era where it tells you like it's never too late. KFC started 50 and started 60. Absolute bullshit. It's always the opposite. It's always too late. So the only thing that you have in your hands is the actions that you do. So don't waste your time. If you have an idea, you have anything that's running in your head, put it outside. I'm talking if you have a business idea. Trust me, business ideas and business plans are not created in your mind. It's created in the marketplace. So whatever you have, just put it out. Make it happen. Make moves on it. If it fails, great. You learned. Have another one, put it in the market. The best thing is to move, take actions, because it's always too late. Number one. Number two, we live in an era as well that we're bombarded with a lot of information. Very true. From the podcast, from the courses, the seminars, the books, you're bombarded by a lot, which switched people from our origin, or why we're created, from being creators to being consuming. Always have your creation more than your consumption. With regards to anything, if you're reading something, read like this, good to read, but act on it. Create something with what you read. Create. If you're on social media, stop scrolling for for the sake of nothing. Start creating. Success comes from creation and not consumption. These are and of course, F the motivation. Just
Well, man, first of all, I love the creator consumer analogy that you gave. I think a lot of times, you know, even myself included over the years, I'd be like, oh yeah, I read so many books, but how much did I really apply to it? You know, so like, you know, I'm not here to sit like I'm any better than anyone else. You know,
so I'm that we read.
yeah. And I like more importantly, the first thing you said, because the first time people usually say it's never too late. You're the first person I've had that said, no, it is too late, but the way you frame it is a day late is a day too late.
Of course.
You know, because today I could have taken action. Tomorrow, maybe you can, but now you can't.
You know, I want to give an example before we close. When I used to work in family business, my family business runs offline, okay? And I got an idea that, of course, I saw it somewhere else. Like, I got an idea that I saw it in Australia, that it's happening, which is making our offline business online. Superb. I kept discussing it internally for 3 years. 3 years? A little bit, 3 years. I'm thinking, how to convince the board of the family business to do 3 years. I woke up one day, I read in the news, a company ABC in the Middle East created it, raised funds like 100 M's. What the F? Fuck. Discussing it for 3 years, writing business plans, thinking. Even I invested in this company back in Australia, and like, it's too late.
It's too late. Yeah.
It's too late.
And that's a great story to give people an idea or like an example of what that kind of looks like. Because, you know, even me, once upon a time, I remember I had this crazy idea, like, oh, these car covers, whatever. And, you know, people are like, oh, why, whatever. And then, like, I can't remember, it was like last Ramadan or something. And I go to my parents' house and they have like a tent above it. I'm like, this is what the fuck I was talking about, bro. I knew there was something. See your point? So I understand the feeling, man. Seif, I want to say, first of all, thank you so much, man, for coming on the show today. This has been an absolute pleasure. I really appreciate the way you talk about entrepreneurship and business and motivation and success. That, you know, our conversation today, yes, there was a lot of business, entrepreneurship stuff in it, but underneath it was all about just how to be a good person, how to be successful, what are the characteristics you need, what are the traits, and, you know, to continue pushing yourself, inspired for yourself.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. I love the conversation, and I think we could go for a couple of more hours.
Yeah.
Really loved it, brother.
Yeah, Habibi, you're welcome. You're welcome back anytime. For people who want to work with you, check you out, where can we find you? Where can we reach out?
Like could be my website, like seifelhakim.com, or Instagram as well. Seif El Hakim.
Also, we'll make sure to put all that in the show notes today. But this has been a massive pleasure. Habibi,
Thank you very much.
I will. Thank you. To everyone listening, guys, thank you so much.
And before you cut, success, because again, everybody talks about preparation. In order to succeed, you need to be prepared. And I have to give it to you. Over the years, I've never had an interview with somebody that's prepared as you.
Wow.
Superb.
Wow.
Very well done. That shows, I don't want to say the quality, but it shows the material of the person. You don't do things just for the sake of doing it. You're doing it to make it properly, correct, and it represents you as well.
Habibi, thank you very much. That's very, very humble to hear that. And I'm so happy that, you know, you had that experience. I always mark the success of any episode, but did my guests have a good time? And I think we've had a pretty good time today. It's about 100 that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Guys, everyone listening, please make sure to like, follow, share, and subscribe to the podcast. I hope it helps pod on all channels. And as always, guys, hope it helps. Peace.
Yeah. Very well.
Habibi, what a pleasure. Thank you so much, man. Thank you.
Very nice. And bro, the level of prep.
And that's another episode in the bag, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really, really appreciate it. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, podcasting is like this massive jigsaw puzzle, and my job is to help you find that missing piece. So if you're someone who's looking to launch your own podcast or take their podcast to the next level, you can book a call today and let's get started. TikTok.